And now, What's My Line? Brought to you by Stop at Spray Deodorant. Poof, there goes perspiration. Poof Deodorant Body Powder, the body powder you spray. The Nest Shampoo, the new flowing cream shampoo. All in the first truly functional cosmetic containers, far easier to use. All created by Dr. Jules Montagnier, the famous cosmetic chemist. Time now to enjoy What's My Line?
And now let's meet our What's My Line panel of well-known personalities whose lines you already know. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal-American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, a man whose new book, it's called Good for a Laugh, still has me chuckling. I really loved it, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Thank you, Dorothy. Kalamazoo has made you more charming than ever. On my left is a girl who has more friends and admirers than a winning candidate, Miss Arlene Francis.
Oh, I don't know if I can say anything now. And on my left, the lad from whose lips come quips, Hal Block.
You're a poet and you don't even know it. And on my left, my favorite impartial political observer, who told me exclusively that this Tuesday he's going to vote for Dwight D. Stevenson, John Davis.
That makes me a Demublican, I guess. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line, presented by Stop Etch. Once again tonight, we're going to put the cameras on some people who've been good enough to come and visit us, all of them with varied and we hope hard-to-guess occupations. They're here to give our panel a run for the money to carry home some prizes. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later in the program. But now to start things rolling, it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger, whose job they've got to spot. Will you sign in, please, ma'am? Virginia
Dare.
Virginia Boyd Jeff. Is that right? Would you be good enough to tell us, first of all, if it's Miss or Mrs.?
Miss.
Miss.
Miss. We're in
Well, you've got a tour ahead of you. Where are you from?
Reading, Pennsylvania.
Reading, Pennsylvania. Well, our friends down on the panel want to know you better, particularly the chap on the end. So would you be good enough to walk down in front of the panel for me, please?
May I see your hands, please?
May I see your hand? Very nice.
All right, Miss Boyd Jeff, will you come over here and sit down next to me now? And on the basis of your handwriting and that small trip you just took, we give at this point to the panel one free wild guess as to what your line may be. And we'll begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think she plays the harp.
The harp, Mr. Cerf.
I think she's a girl that Bobby Clark sang that song about, you know, I'm Robert the Roue from Reading, PA.
Miss Francis.
Well, Miss Boyd-Jeff has stars in her eyes. I think she must be an astrologer.
Mr. Block.
Well, she's the kind of a girl you could take home to Grandma, if you could trust your grandpa.
That's probably true, but nobody has guessed her line, and so we'll let our viewers at home have another look at Miss Boyd-Jeff, and at the same time, we will tell them what her line is. But the panel will have to dig. Now, what's going to happen from here on in, Miss Boyd-Jeff, is every time you give them a no answer, we'll ring it up here. They lose $5, 10 no's, and you've won the game. One last bit of help for the panel. Miss Boyd-Jeff is self-employed. With that, we'll begin the general questioning with Mr. Block.
Well, thanks a heap. Do you deal in services?
Yes.
Do you come to people for, do you go out for your services rather than have people come to you?
Well, sometimes. Yes.
Could I possibly come to you for services? Would you do me any good?
Yes.
I think anybody, yes, might do you a lot of good, brother.
Well, if she did it, it might. When you do your services, do you use your hands?
Yes.
Well, are your services for hands perhaps have anything to do with adjustment or repair or reconditioning? Or... Anything like that?
Yes.
Adjustment, repair, reconditioning, especially in his case, if you're here.
Do you usually work on just one particular thing?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Does that mean that you're versatile enough to adjust, repair, or what was there, recondition several things?
Yes, I would say that you're versatile enough to adjust, repair, or recondition several things.
Just like a package.
Do you adjust or repair these things? No, I'll start that over again. Are these sometimes things as well as people?
Are these sometimes things as well as people? That will make it 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Boy Jeff, are the things that you repair living organisms?
Yes.
Are they human beings?
Yes.
Are they members of both sexes?
Yes.
Could you also do your work for children?
Yes.
Do you sometimes do your work
Yes.
for children? Is it something to do with people's health? Does it improve their well-being, the service that you perform?
Yes.
Considerably, would you say?
Yes.
Do you do any kind of manipulation on the carcasses of said human beings?
Let's keep this in a high plane. No carcasses, please. I would say yes to that.
Do your patients or the people you're treating lie down while you're working on them?
Sometimes.
Do they, are they fully clothed while you're fooling around with them?
Yes.
They are.
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Sometimes. Do you work on more than one part of their body?
Yes.
Would you put yourself in any way in the classification of a masseur or something along that line?
No.
That would be 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you have to have a special kind of training for your job? Yes. Would you be considered in any respect in a doctor's field of work? Yes. Do you have anything to do with examining people in any way? I'm not just saying looking at them and examining them, but in anything that has to do with examination or that you may deduce from what you... I'm going to make this the longest question if I'm going to know.
You're doing great.
Can you, do you do anything that may deduce you to have some idea of the condition of the patient or the person that comes in contact with you? Yes.
Got a short answer.
Congratulations, Miss Francis. The medal will be struck in the morning.
Do you practice yourself as a doctor? Is the word doctor used when it is used with your name, Boy Jeff? Are you called Dr. Boy Jeff? Yes.
Hiya, Doc.
I must find out the kind of a doctor.
Yes.
Did you say formally, Miss Boy Jeff, Dr. Boy Jeff, that you work both on men and women? Yes. Do you have a specialization in your particular field, in your job? Yes. Does your specialization have to do with analysis in some way? Would you be considered an internist in any way?
That would be a 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Block.
X-ray thing.
You know, after the help we got from you, we may need a conference.
Somebody must have a weenie
Can
on
we have
this.
a little conference?
Yeah, you can have 20 seconds for a
I'll
conference.
find out if it's anything, if she strives to improve them mentally as well as physically.
Maybe she's a
No,
dermatologist.
they said she uses her hands.
Maybe a dermatologist. Skin.
All right. The 20 seconds is up. Mr. Block, you will continue the general questioning.
He's worse than Arlene.
Yeah. I don't blame you for being confused.
Now,
even
with
I am.
when you say you touch people, do you, by any chance, rub them ever?
You might rub them accidentally here and there sometimes.
Well, then it's more physical than, for instance, diagnosis or dermatology.
Well, there's diagnosis in the
Well, do you
establishment.
manipulate at all?
Yes, it's been determined there's a certain amount of manipulation.
Well, is it, well, What do they call that?
A chiropractor?
Chiropractor?
A chiropractor is wrong. Yes, Mr. Brown.
Just wanted to tell her I may see her in some of the joints.
You may see her in some of the joints. Well, I must say that, Doctor, you did very well. It took them a lot longer to get this than I thought at the beginning they would. I heard that word manipulation some time ago, and you all forgot it. You have done fairly well with the prizes, and we have done more than well because we had you as a guest. We certainly hope that you enjoyed your visit because it was nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
All right, panel, let's see what you can do with another challenger. Will you sign in, please, ma'am?
They're coming in droves.
Beginning to
Yes,
look like
this
a
we're
Miss
calling-
America contest.
We're calling this Miss America or Block Night. Miss Whitney. How are you, Miss Whitney? Nice to see you.
This may be the last chance I get.
Will you tell us, first of all, where you live?
Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Bloomfield, New Jersey. And now, would you take a quick trip down in front of the panel for me, please?
And quickly back.
All right, Miss Whitney, back here, if you will, and sit down next to me. And on the basis of your handwriting and the handshake that Mr. Block has had with you and the trip that you've taken down in front of the panel, we give them one free guess now as to what your line may be. And we begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think she's a dancer.
A dancer, Mr. Cerf.
I think she's a stand-in for Veronica Lake.
Miss Francis.
I think she teaches a children's kindergarten.
Mr. Block.
I think she shakes very well.
Nobody has the right occupation. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Miss Whitney, and at the same time, we'll tell them what her line is. But the panel has to dig, Miss Whitney. You've heard me explain the rules. Each time they give you a no answer, we'll flip a card here, 10 no's or $50, and you've won the game. One last bit of help. Miss Whitney is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Bennett, Cerf.
Miss Whitney, I'm going to ask you a rather important question. Do your good looks have anything to do with the work that you do?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you work for a profit-making organization?
Yes, I do.
Is your job mostly a service job?
Mostly a service job. Well, there's a service involved. What do you mean by mostly service?
Well, I mean, do you also have a product?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, John Daly.
Yes, I got tripped that time.
Is the product something that is used in the home?
Yes.
Used in the home, yes, it could be, couldn't it?
Is it something that is used by both sexes?
Yes.
Are the sexes human?
Yes.
Is it something that would be found if it were in the home in any particular part of the home?
No, not particularly.
More than another?
Mm-hmm. This is a very tough one. Let's give her a no, and I'll take the beating afterwards. 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Block.
And you will, too.
I'm afraid of it.
Can this product also be used outdoors?
Yes.
Can the use of it make people happier?
Yes.
There's something that has to do with pleasure or relaxation?
Yes.
Yes.
Is this ever used, say, in the summer?
Yes.
Could it ever be found around a lake or a
Yes.
river? It's used in the- Could 2 people get into this? You mean more than 2 people it would be crowded?
Yeah.
And it's used on a lake. Well, would a fella and his girl jump into a thing like this and go paddling?
3 down and 7 to go.
Is it not a canoe?
Not a canoe. I'm sorry, Mr. Block. No, it's not a canoe. Miss Kilgallen.
Well, if they wouldn't jump into it, would they ever be in close proximity to it?
Close proximity to it?
Yes.
Well, to the degree that we all move about and may come into close proximity with almost anything, we could give a qualified yes to that, couldn't we?
Would they ever come in bodily contact with it? Yes.
Yes, come on.
Would they ever sit on it? Yes.
There are certain circumstances under which they might.
Is this thing too large to be held in the hand? No.
This is a very delicate question. I think that if Miss Whitney will bear with me, I would say that it would be possible perhaps, to bear it in one hand. But in terms of bulk, it would not be the sort of thing that you normally have in one hand. Would you agree to that?
Yes.
Ah, thank you, Miss Whitney. Go ahead,
Is
Miss
this
Kilgallen.
a manufactured article? Pardon me? Is this a manufactured article? Yes. Is it something that you could buy in a large department store?
Yes.
Is it used more often out of doors than indoors?
Yes.
If you used it indoors, would you ever use it in a playroom?
Well, you could.
Actually, I think, panel, if you don't mind, I'll ring the curtain down. This is an awful tough one. We didn't think you'd be able to get this. And we're going to let you have it by default, because I'm afraid they're not even getting close. Miss Whitney makes sleeping bags.
Sleeping bags?
Yes, makes sleeping bags, which you do use indoors, but you can also use out of doors. And you would have it near a lake. And so you win the full prize, and thanks
But
very much.
why you didn't think we'd keep it in a special part of the house, I don't know, because we always keep ours in the kitchen.
Oh, yes, we keep ours, too. We put it in the stew a good deal. Thanks very much for coming to see us. Panel, that was a real tough one. And now, in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we'll introduce our mystery guest, but first, here is an item of interest for all of you. And now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity. My friends over on the panel would certainly recognize our guest on sight, so we've provided them with blindfolds. They're all in place, are they, panel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we always do away with all the usual preliminaries, get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you in any branch of the entertainment world?
Yeah.
Are you in motion pictures?
I beg your pardon, Miss Kilgallen?
Are you in motion pictures?
Yes.
Have you ever won an Academy Award?
Have you ever won an Academy Award?
Yeah.
If anybody says Leo the Lion, I'll jump right out of my skin. Go ahead, Miss Kilgallen.
Have you ever appeared in a Technicolor movie?
Yes.
I'll pass.
All right, Mr. Cerf.
Are you over the age of 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're quite sure of that? Are you? Well, let's keep on that. Are you over 40?
Yeah.
I don't dare go any further.
Would you like to try for 80?
Have you been in a picture within the past that's been shown in one of the big Broadway houses within the past 2 or 3 months?
Yeah.
Is it possible that you're in a picture that's showing at one of the big houses right now?
No.
No. 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Would you be considered the fellow that gets the girl in the picture?
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Block.
Oh, he doesn't.
What?
All right, Mr.
3
Block.
down.
Do you usually play sort of a character part?
Yeah.
Say that again.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to hear that voice. Do you ever play scary type roles?
Scary type roles?
Because he sure scared me.
I would say that is not the fact. No, I wouldn't say scary type roles. That's 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you ever play elegant characters?
Elegant characters?
Nah.
That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Well, whether it's assumed or not, you sound like the kind of fellow you could be found out at Ebbets Field during the summer. Have you ever played a Brooklyn character in a movie?
Nah.
No?
That's 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you play unusual characters in pictures?
What do you mean by unusual, Miss Francis?
Well, the sort of hard-boiled friend of somebody, or the man with the missing million, or something like that. You know, the odd type person in a picture, like Eddie Gwynn, people like that.
It's a very encompassing, all-encompassing question.
All my questions have been like that tonight. I have no control. By that, I mean, would you be considered a character actor of the type of Eddie Gwynn or Teddy Gwynn?
Yeah.
What's a sweeter yeah?
Might be Eddie Gwynn.
Yeah. No. Are you from England?
Nah.
Oh, he got mad. There's a clue.
So what's wrong with England? Has it been determined whether you play likable roles, too?
Well, he does play likable roles, yes.
And you say you're not playing now. Have you played in a picture that was on Broadway, say, within the last 6 months?
That has been determined that he has been in a picture that's been on Broadway in the last 2 or 3 months.
Are you married?
Nah.
7 down and 3 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Have you ever played in a picture with Bing Crosby?
You ever played in a picture with Bing Crosby?
Yeah.
Did you ever play a priest in a picture?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
Who is it, Miss
Say it, and
Kilgallen?
are you that darling Barry Fitzgerald?
It is that darling Barry Fitzgerald. Very nice to see you. Thank you very much.
You're supposed to be the quiet man?
Thank you very much, Mr. Fitzgerald. Now, panel, we have just enough time to see what you can do with another challenger. Will you come and sign in, please, ma'am? Betty? Skoronsky, is that right? How are you? It's good to see you. Where are you from? It's Miss, is it?
Mrs.
Mrs. Skoronsky, and you're from Bridgeport, Connecticut. Time is very short. We have some folks from Bridgeport. Will you just walk right down in front of the panel, turn right around and walk back again, and come over here and join me? That's fine. Now come right over here, if you will, and sit down next to me. And then on the basis of that quick walk and the decisiveness with which you trotted over there and trotted back in, we'll give them one free guess. We'll begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
Well, I hope she's a school teacher because it would be so nice for the children.
Oh, nice. Mr. Cerf.
Some of the winter people in Barnum Bailey Circus live in Bridgeport. I think she has something to do with the circus.
Miss Francis.
I think she's a defense worker.
Mr. Block.
I think she's a skin specialist in a salami factory.
Nobody. We'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mrs. Skoronsky. At the same time, we'll tell them what her line is. But the panel has got to dig. And what goes on from here... Mrs. Skoronsky, you know the rules. Every no answer costs them $5. We keep the record up here. 10 no's, you've won the game. Mrs. Skoronsky is salaried. With that, we'll begin the general questioning with Miss Francis.
Mrs. Koronsky, do you work for a profit-making organization?
I do.
Does your job deal with the product in any way?
No.
No product. 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Block.
And you deal mainly in services. Do you have to have any special training for your work?
No, let's give him a no. No, actually, I think in our terms of reference, we would say no there, but there is a talent required.
I'll get you later.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Would you say that your work was chiefly mental?
Well, now, you mean to the degree that physical application is not necessary?
Oh, no, only to the degree that there is more mental application than physical.
All right, go ahead, Miss Dorothy. I give up. Qualified, yes.
You have said that there's no product connected with this. Right. Do you work with your hands?
Yes.
Do you work with or on both men and women?
Yes.
With
These are human men and women.
Human men and women.
Alive.
Does what you do make them feel better?
Hope so.
Oh, I think it does.
Does it make them look any better?
Make them look any better? That's 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Skoronsky, do you work on a certain part of people's anatomy?
That would be 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Is there any paperwork involved in your job?
Not directly.
Well, there is an ancillary amount of paperwork.
what?
Well, I thought that was...
It's like dermatology.
We'll give a qualified yes
Did you say that you were salaried? I'm sorry.
Yes.
You are salaried. Do you work in what might be called an office as opposed to in a a store or something. You
Yes.
work in an office. Is the kind of work that you do something that has to do with a big firm, like an insurance firm or a banking firm or that sort of thing?
Well, it's a big firm, and unhappily we've run out of time.
Oh.
And I think all of your problems will be answered when I tell you that Mrs. Skoronsky sings birthday telegrams up in the Bridgeport office on the night side. And since we didn't have enough time, you win the full prize. Thanks very much for being our guest at What's My Line. Nice to see you. Good night. And now, in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a preview look at one of our guests whose line our panel is going to be asked to try and identify on next week's program. And next week at this same time, our panel of experts will be asked, "What's my line?" by this young lady. Would you know what her occupation is? Could you tell us what her line is? Well, to the answers to these and a good many other interesting questions, be sure to be with us again next Sunday evening at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when once again Stopette invites you to play What's My Line? For other localities, check your local listings for the date and the time of our weekly series. Until then, this is John Daly saying good night, Dorothy.
Good night, Bennett.
Good night, Arlene.
Happy trip to Houston, Hal.
And happy good night, John.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.